Hey guys, got Puzzle Fox back here at you. I'm actually really excited. My wife surprised me for Valentine's Day. Before I was using a GoPro Hero 3, so I felt like I was using some pretty ancient technology. Now I'm talking to you guys on a Hero GoPro 8 Black. I'm really excited about that. Excited to see how these videos turn out now, how they look on YouTube. But finally getting back out in the garage. It's probably been a few weeks since I've been out here working on stuff. Yeah, I'm using my new GoPro. Mama ran away. She doesn't like the GoPro. But we got a lot of activity going on at the Puzzle Fox house here. So as you can see, car's still up on stands here. Finally getting out here again. On's got a buddy over. They're cleaning up the Ranger and his buddy's little 350Z. So got a lot of action going on over here tonight. So it's kind of a fun night. Finally getting a nice warm night in Minnesota. I think it's about 50 degrees out yet, so that's pretty dang warm. As you can see, boys are wearing shorts. But thought I'd get back out here, fire up this Hero 8. Like I said, really excited about this. Really surprised that my wife picked this up for me. Owen, of course, had a hand in it, helping Mama pick this out for me. So getting back out here and hopefully going to make some progress on here. I had some vacation from work. We actually went out west snowmobiling, my son and I, and a couple of buddies of ours. So I haven't had much time to get out here. I've been playing catch up with stuff around the house and stuff with work, and actually going to be going on another vacation here. My wife has her spring break from her college that she's going to and from the elementary school she works at. So we're going to take advantage of that, have some time away. So I haven't recorded any car content in 10 days. So I kind of feel a little bit bad about that, but it's not that I haven't made progress on the project, at least physically on the car, but I've been working on figuring out exactly how I want to get the car set up. So I've sent out an email and been working with Maximum Motorsports. If any of you guys have seen that, you can use their tech support page and basically pay for some tech support, and then they take that cost off of your order if you order from them within 180 days. So Motorsports, been emailing them back and forth. I want to make sure I get this car set up in a way that I really, really enjoy it. And since I'm going to be putting, well, maybe for some people it's not a ton of money, but for me it's a good chunk of change that I'm going to be putting into this car. So I want to make sure this car is set up as perfectly as it can be for what I want it to do. So I went through and filled out a whole big questionnaire and sent that off to a gentleman at to the tech support at Maximum Motorsports, and I've actually had a few emails go back and forth, which I have to give Maximum Motorsports, but he's been really helpful and really supportive, going through this whole list of questions. And then if he needed a little clarity, he actually has shot some questions back to me. Like I said, a couple of times now. I think we've gone back and forth. Maybe this is our third iteration going back and forth. But I'm hoping to get this thing set up just the way I want it. I'm kind of modeling it after like the Matt Farah car. I think people that are familiar with Fox bodies and modified Fox bodies have probably heard about or seen that car, the Matt Farah Fox body. I know he's since sold it, but that's kind of what I want to mimic with this car. And then also I've seen a guy on the Coyote Swap Fox Bodies page on Facebook, younger guy named Alfredo Diaz, and I've actually had a couple of messages go back and forth with him, and he actually pointed me to Maximum Motorsports too, just to help answer questions and hopefully get my car set up just the way I want so that it's perfect for me. So as I've talked about, I want this car to be an awesome autocrosser, do some open track duty, and still be a good street cruiser so I can get out and just enjoy it a little bit and cruise around with my wife, maybe take it to some car shows. I want it to look nice, but I'm not intending to make a show car out of it right now, but you know, things may change. But I do want to kind of doll the car up a little bit. That's kind of where we're at right now. I think the last time I may have shown you guys, I was working on getting these brackets up underneath the car. So I had the subframe mounted up under here. I have, as you can see, I've pulled it out of there now. Maybe kind of hard to see in there, but that front bolt hole almost lines up. As you can see, it's hitting this inner fender here, so I'm gonna have to trim that up a little. Then what I think I'm gonna do now, so this rear hole is up too high from what it is in the frame rail, so I think I'm just gonna cut this section out where this hole is and build a small piece and like weld a tab in here that hangs down low enough to put the hole where it needs to be, so that I can just leave this where it's at. This front hole should line up. I think once I get this trimmed out, you can kind of see I marked up with a little bit of a line. So I think once I have that, I think that should be good to go. And then moving to the passenger side, it's a little bit different story. Kind of dealing with the same thing here. So that hole's too low. I'll weld a tab onto there. But maybe you can see it a little bit better now. There's that hole up inside there. It's not quite lining up. I think I need to trim up this inner fender just a little bit to get a little more space there. Of course, that rear hole doesn't line up. Then what I found here is on the bottom, this bracket here for the tank support and where the tank bolts onto is in the way. So this little bit right out here gets in the way of where that rear support bracket has to bolt on. So I think what I'm going to do here is just take a cutoff wheel and cut out a section of this here. Maybe I'll try to pound that back up and weld that tab back to this frame rail.
It bumps in, this part right here. I see. So I'm just going to cut out, I just cut it working well.
All right, just to kind of show you guys what I'm thinking here, is I kind of cut a slot, kind of back across, and I think I'm going to try to pound that up on both sides and try to re-weld that some if that works. Got this tab here, you can kind of see bent over so it's flush against the frame rail. So this rear part goes up in here, front part is up in here. Well, I thought I'd give this a shot, just pounding that up. I had a line drawn where I thought I'd have to cut it, but it looks like it may just bend up out of the way good enough. It's probably knocking all the undercoating off, so I was debating if it would be better to pound that up or if it'd be better to just cut it off. Got this undercoating under it, it looks like. I think it's been a couple of days since the last video I shot. Again, like I was saying before, I was spending a little bit of time with an engineer at Maximum Motorsports trying to figure out exactly what I want to do for suspension and setup on this car. So I've had a lot going back and forth on that. I'm going to wait till I kind of get things finalized a little bit with that before I start talking about what I'm actually going to do as far as suspension, shocks, struts. Made a little more progress working on getting these brackets at least situated. I'll just kind of show you where I'm at right now. I got these brackets mounted. You can kind of see that those bolt holes, that forward bolt hole doesn't line up perfectly. And right now I have this clamp situated where it's at covering the hole, well, pretty much currently where it is in the bracket, and you can kind of see that where that hole's poking out underneath there. So what I think I'm going to do is cut out a section of this material here and replace that with some more steel and just drill a hole so it lines up with this bolt hole that's in the frame here. So I ended up kind of welding, cleaning up some material, and I spent some time underneath here with a file trying to get it so that this bracket mounts up flush against the bottom of the frame, and I think it's pretty good right now. The deal is there's not an extra layer of sheet metal that goes all the way up underneath where this bracket is, so it kind of teeters on the bottom of that frame rail. So I might do some thinking about that. I might just, I don't know, weld on just a little piece of sheet metal that goes underneath this portion of the foot for this bracket, and then start drilling some holes in the frame here for where I'll put the bolts here. So driver's side, it's the same sort of story. That front bolt hole doesn't quite line up. The rear, the clamp is covering the hole in the bracket. You can see that where that nutsert in the frame is poking out underneath. So this side seems to fit a little bit nicer than what the passenger side does against the frame rail. So I think before I do start drilling holes, I'll try to mount up that subframe underneath here, just to get an idea of how it's going to fit before I do start drilling more holes in the frame. Everything looks like it's lining up pretty well. I think there's going to need some minor tweaking, so I'll show you what I'm dealing with. So right now I do have the front bolt in for the front lower mounting point, and I just got it clamped up here. So no bolt in that rear hole. As you can see, it's still not quite lined up. And now I got the bolt in the rear mounting point. It's all the way to the front of that slot. So I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to shift this. I'm thinking I might have to shift this bracket ahead a little bit, or maybe hog out that hole just a little bit so that thing's fit up right. Because I think it might get a little bit tighter, because right now my understanding is those holes in that lower control arm mounting point are in the subframe are meant for a 14 millimeter bolt, and the Fox bolts are 12 millimeter bolts. So there's a little bit of slop on that front control arm. So you can see this side's mounted up here too. Again, it's right at the front of that slot in that bracket. And you can see there, that thing, when I jacked it up, popped right up in place there. Everything mounts up in there really nice. I'm pretty pleased with it. That's going to be it for now. I'm going to try to get this stuff uploaded now, but working on getting more comfortable in front of this camera and giving you guys a little bit better content. I'm hoping to get out in the garage here more and more and do some work on the Fox. So please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that good old YouTube stuff if you're enjoying this. Hopefully I'll have an update for you on what I'm getting for feedback from Maximum Motorsports, and hopefully getting a boatload of parts ordered for the car. But anyways, I'll catch up with you guys later.